Revo is a top-down vertical shoot-'em-up by Cosmic Misfit Studios that was released on Steam in 2021. It has a strong visual style with bright neon colors and fast, frantic gameplay, where you can select your own loadout as you equip more weapons progressing through the levels. You have limited ammo, which you can replenish by collecting drops from the enemies when you defeat them. And you also have an armor life bar, which, when it depletes, will start to make the screen flash before you lose a life. When you die, you can thankfully restart right where you left off without having to use a checkpoint system. One thing you'll notice right away is the strong visual style and fast gameplay where shots are coming at you like a bullet hell, but at a much higher rate of speed. So it takes some getting used to at first, but it's a game that'll grow on you as you play it more, and it just has an overall really cool vibe with the synthwave soundtrack. The story is rather simple. It leaves a lot up to the player to determine. You begin as a small vessel floating in outer space, and the larger dock type ship picks you up and takes you forward to carry you one level to the next. And the dock ship is where you do your upgrades. The ship will also collect materials during the levels to create new weapons in between them, which you can select and equip during that time. You're also able to replenish your ammo and your shields in between levels, and you can also select previous levels if you want to try to go for a higher score. The game can seem pretty daunting at first, but it does balance the difficulty well. When you get used to the shot patterns, it actually seems to be more manageable. Plus, your life bar is pretty generous. In addition to that, you can actually lose a life and then regain it rather quickly, as the life is able to kind of power up over time and it refills and you gain a new one. That allows you to keep playing even though you might be suffering some deaths here and there. However, some of the enemies are pretty difficult and unique in many ways. Some enemies will block your shots, and so you have to go around them and use different strategies. And that also includes the bosses. One cool thing is that the boss and larger enemies all have a core similar to something like Gradius, except on the outside of it you'll see a type of life bar that extends around the circle of the core, and when it fills up all the way, then the enemy will die. And so you can kind of track the life bar that way. And what that means is that in combination with the different weapons that you equip before the stage, you need to try different strategies at defeating some of the enemies, which can give you a really hard time at first. But once you can develop a pattern and figure out the best way to use your weapons against them, it gets really fun because you're kind of unlocking almost like Mega Man style, like which power-ups are effective against which enemies. The game also has a pretty good scoring system where you're able to build up your multiplier as long as you don't take any hits or damage, and you can also pick up lots of items that the enemies drop. The way that the stages are structured is that you'll have a theme like Chaos Control where you'll have multiple levels and you'll go through a few of those, and then you'll finish with a boss stage before you go on to the next area. The themes for the bosses are like bases or like large gun ports with multiple turrets equipped. And like I said before, you usually have to destroy the core, and that's how you defeat the bosses. The game also definitely has a great retro feel from the look to the design of the ships, a bit of minimalism crossed with that neon glow. It just looks really appealing. It does remind me of stuff like Tron and that really retro inspired look. For extra effect, I like to run the game at the lowest resolution so it gets that real kind of pixelated look that's like a classic arcade game, so to speak. And I think it suits the game pretty well. The minimal HUD and the amount of content on there is well displayed in how it organizes at the corners of the screen so that you're left with the play area. And if you hover over one of your life bars, it'll actually hide it for the moment so you can easily track where your ship is against the enemy fire. The soundtrack is also very impressive. Highly recommended listening. It's definitely something that you'll be humming after you play, and something that I like to listen to when I'm not playing the game too. So, high quality stuff here, and it really suits the game well, kind of adding to that overall atmosphere of the retro throwback with this futuristic kind of feeling. Now, the game was all made by just one guy, the Cosmic Misfit himself, Drew Van Camp, and he's been working on this game since 2016, and he actually streamed the progress of the development on Twitch. So that's how I found out about it initially, and it was really cool getting updates from there and even trying out the alpha versions or betas before this one released. So it's really cool to see the game progress and how it's developed over time. And it makes it more impressive that way too, knowing just one person made it and the music and everything. Right now you can pick it up on Steam for 15 bucks. It's a pretty good price, and I think it's worth your time checking out. It's definitely a unique shooter, a little bit of an acquired taste. It might not be for everyone, but if you like retro arcade style shoot 'em ups, this is definitely one you should check out. I think you might be surprised. Give it a shot. If you've played it, let me know what you think. And that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a good one. I will see you next time.